All right, y'all. So now we're going to be doing the bass lines for our sample. Now, there's a couple different ways to do bass lines on a sample. One option you have is you would clone the sample you have, assign it to a free mixer track, and then you'd go ahead and filter all the highs out. So make sure it's like this. Okay. Do that twice just to make sure we get them all. Let's actually, and we're gonna go ahead and copy the same pattern down. And our whole goal in this is just to isolate the bass in this. Okay, as you can hear, now you have basically a nice little bass to add to it. And then what you do to your main sample is go ahead and cut the bass from the main sample so that this is just rocking and not interfering. So your main sample would sound like this. Okay, and then you'd add the bass to it, obviously, and then you'd go, obviously take more time within, mix it. But that's one way to go ahead. It's basically not even the lazy way, but just it gives you a more gritty sound, and if you don't know how to find the notes or something, it's an easier way to just get a nice little bass line down on your beat. But the only problem with those is you really have to do a lot of filtering in the mixing process to get a bass that really kicks and punches, which I don't really like to do, so I like to actually try to play my own bass on top of the sample. So the VST we're going to be using is Dimension Pro, and we're going to go into the real basses section, and there's a preset in here called Micro Fingered. And I just really like how it sounds. It has a real natural type sound to it, and I already know the notes to this, but usually the easiest way to figure it out, the notes to something, is I'll take a piano, just because a piano is such a clean sound. Sometimes if you just use a bass, it kind of gets muffled in there. You can't really tell what's going on as far as what the bass is, but with a piano you can kind of, it makes it a little easier to figure out what the notes would be for it. So you can even use the FL keys just to go through and find the notes, and you just play basically the sample and then play along with it and just kind of figure out what the notes would be. So I'll just kind of show you the basics of it. Okay. And in this case, this one is really simple. I'm going to basically be using 3 notes for the bass line. Well, actually 4 notes. But it's real simple, but basically that's what you do. And this is one of those things where you just gotta, where I really recommend, find some of your favorite songs and just play along to them. And then they'll kind of help you build your ear and kind of figure out which notes are where, and help you with learning scales and whatnot, just so you can do stuff like this where you can just hear a sample and pick up what notes are in it and kind of already know the scale for it. So I definitely recommend that. So let's go ahead and lay down the bass line and I'll show you the notes. Okay, and now we have just a very basic bass line in there. I didn't want to get too crazy with it, but it works, it serves its purpose. So we kind of have that in there already. So now one thing I like to do is I'll go ahead and just play our kick. And I like to try and at least match some of the notes to give the kick a little more punch. Actually not even match the notes, but match the placement of where the kick hits, so it gets that fresh bass sound again. Let me actually drag this out just so I can kind of see the whole thing. And I think there's a note right here. And I'm actually cutting some of those highs out of that bass just so it's not so guitar sounding almost. I want just that nice deep bass, but I kind of want a live feel, so I'm just going to kind of create my own, basically patch a little bit by just filtering out some of those highs. And the notes I picked that worked well for me, you could obviously, if you're into playing, go ahead and play some much more complex to this, but just keep it easy and kind of make sure everybody can follow along. I just picked basically 3 notes that fit in here, and here they are. Again, so a D sharp, D sharp, C sharp, D sharp. D sharp, D sharp, C sharp, C sharp. So it's just like the same thing kind of repeating over and over. And then I added just A sharp just to kind of have it almost like a little run up to the top note, just make it a little more interesting. But this kind of finishes the basics of the beat. So let's go ahead and jump in the next session and start adding our drops and kind of just laying it out.